welcome to Gemstone Tarot, Monday the 13th of October. We're getting through it, aren't we? We're getting through the months really quickly. This year's gone quick, I think. What do you think? Venus enters Libra. Oh, come on. Venus enters Libra. Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. That is, Venus is Libra's natural ruler, isn't she? So, ooh. Let me know, any of you lovely astrologers, please, about Venus entering Libra, but I know it's a good thing. Oh, yes. Okay, so let's hear about the meadow. In the ancient meadow. So this is in October in the ancient meadows, okay? You'd be forgiven for thinking that the meadow is on pause between now and spring. Grazing animals may be brought to the meadow periodically to feed, but otherwise it appears quiet. The stumps of grasses and shorn wild flowers, the only hint of summer past. But look closer and you'll see life. On mild days, flowers might bloom, including dandelions and rogue relics of summer, viper's bug loss. I thought that said butt loss. Butt loss. Viper's bug loss, oxeye daisy and greater knapweed. Despite the lateness of year, the yellow dung fly is still active. Males gather around the dung of grazing cows, horses and sheep, waiting for females who they can mate with before the females lay eggs. It's like Last Chance Saloon, like it used to be at the nightclubs. You know, when, do you ever remember that at the nightclubs, that sort of between, I don't know, if the nightclub closed at 2, between 1 AM and 2 AM, before the lights came on, if everyone was like, if you were talking to somebody and you're like, you know, not bad, then all the lights came on, you were like, oh my God, running out of the place. So, and that sense of kind of your standards dropping towards the end of the night. It's probably not what she's getting at here, but it's what it makes me think of. Males gather around the dung of grazing cows, horses and sheep, waiting for females. The larvae burrow into the dung. It's quite a lot like the nightclubs of the 1980s and 90s. And feed on the larvae of other flies living in it. I hope you're not eating your breakfast at the moment. Apologies to those of you that are. Some dung beetles may also still be active. They take the dung and tunnel down into the soil. So we're getting a bit scatological here. Burying it and recycling its nutrients into the earth, while also breaking up the ground and improving drainage. In mild conditions, earthworms will also be active, and you may see gulls dancing on the meadow to trick worms up to the surface so they can eat them. Flocks of meadow pipits. Why does everything in nature have such a weird name? Hunker down in the thatch, feeding on the remains of invertebrates and the odd seed left from the autumn cut. Any disturbance will see them suddenly fly up and off to somewhere more quiet, with a typically jerky flight. A fox. We have loads of foxes where I am, really urban foxes. They're very cheeky because of students and stuff, so they just eat out of all the bins. It's not that rare to see a fox. A fox may slink across the landscape, or a hare venture out to feed on tussocks of grass. By night, hedgehogs. Has anybody got any hedgehogs? We've got a hedgehog here. Well, it's not actually in the house like that one that came through the cat flap a few years ago. That was amazing. To see a hedgehog come through a cat flap and then try and eat some pizza off the floor, that was weird. I know, don't ask why. Well, that was when the boy used to order Domino's. And then, like, as they do when they're that age, and then the box would be there, and there'd always be like a crust of pizza left in the box that he threw by the bin, which was his way of recycling. And then, yeah, this hedgehog pulled itself up, because the cat flap's quite high, pulled itself up and came through. I found it a little bit weird, actually. I found it a bit spooky. But there's another one down the alleyway. It's huge. So that's good. So we have put cat food out and it did eat it. I know. Amazing. A fox may slink across the landscape, or a hare, blah, blah. By night, hedgehogs may snuffle onto the meadow to feast on the last of the year's beetles or pizza, while badgers are on the hunt for earthworms. Why can't I speak at the moment? On mild days, caterpillars might nibble on leaves. I've not seen a caterpillar in years. There's always life if you look for it, and that's by Kate Bradbury. There you go, that's the ancient meadow. Always has all these things here, like the October timetable of tides. Like, who knows what any of that means? And the sea temperatures. It's very geeky, even for me. Right, Frine and Bendy Rude. Heart of the Fairy Oracle. Let's see what we can do without too much TNA. That card wants to come out. Oh, I love that card. So I don't do any reversals with these. It's not that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Those two want to come out. Ooh. That one wants to come out. And one more. You. That one's come out a lot. That came out in when I used them for extended readings in the monthlies. Okay. That had a person in the background. Oh my god. Okay, let me do that and that. The Elven Knight. So the Elven Knight is a very interesting card because it makes me think of the Dylan Thomas poem about the fuse and the forest and everything, and it's also divine masculine energy, so it can come up for relationships, and I feel like this has some bearing on relationships because it's come up with the Returning, which is also a card that comes up when feelings return, because that also comes up with the Remembrance. So do you remember the other day we did a reading about what it's like to play as a child and be very absorbed in your own world? There's something here with the Elven Knight about the reignition of feelings. So it could be that you just have a real longing for where you used to live or where you went to school, a little bit of a sort of Six of Cups type feeling, you know, nostalgia. But it's also, it could be feelings for another person or a friend that you haven't spoken to in ages, or a lover where it's been a bit drifty, you know, where maybe the whole relationship was drifty. And if this one, the Remembrance, it's kind of a sketch and it's monochrome and it's not fully fleshed out. And the Returning is where you leave a room that you were in before, and let's say you return to a house. And I'm thinking like Daphne du Maurier, you know, the first line of Rebecca, I think, last night I dreamt of Manderley, which is like at the house. And it's got that kind of feel about it where you're going to go back to somewhere and you're going to get the chance to return, and then you've changed but the rest of the room just all looks the same. So this is about a dynamic or a feeling or a relationship where you're not sure whether you've changed or the dynamics of the relationship have changed. Okay? We also have the Lady of Song. And the Lady of Song is where you have the opportunity to now be able to say your piece or speak with your voice, or, you know, it's all that thing about throat chakras and being honest and being authentic and being emboldened enough to feel that you can do that, that you don't have to pretend. And this could be, you know, there's like an inciting incident here. So there's something that sets off this electricity. And it can literally just be something that happens in the universe or a coincidence or whatever it is. But it's giving you this, it's giving you the feels, it's making you remember, and then it's making you reevaluate where you stand with it now. And then finally, we have the Lady of the Forest. And the Lady of the Forest, her hair has kind of grown into the leaves. And I see this a bit like when we had the Queen of Pentacles the other day, where how do you room into your environment, or how do you room into your feelings? How can you be authentic? How much have you changed? How much has it changed? How much have they changed? Where do you begin and end? You know, it's that kind of a feeling. And there's not necessarily an answer to any of it, but you're definitely opening the book. Woof. Definitely leave me a comment about that. I'd be really interested to know what you think. And I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.